It's time for American Farm Country Radio with your host, Dave Williams. We're here to discuss all things agriculture with interviews and insights, as well as new medical tips and new information on the foods you eat and drink. So sit back and relax. Here's Dave Williams with today's American Farm Country Radio.
Welcome back, and today we're going to be talking to Tom Brier, and he's running actually as a Democratic candidate in the 10th District for Congress, U.S. Congress, that is. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing well, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's an interesting area that you're running in. I remember I talked many times to Tim Holden when he used to be a congressman there, and of course Scott Perry is the incumbent there. But a lot of it's agriculture there, as well as, of course, Harrisburg. But agriculture plays a big role there, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, it's the biggest industry. And I think anybody who's running for office in this area really has to begin with an agricultural mindset, because it's kind of the linchpin of our society. And so the beauty of running in an area like this is you have a lot of diversity in agriculture, too, and folks to reach out to. So it's an exciting area to be running at.
It sure is. And, of course, at the times today, I know many farmers are hurting. The tariffs and things that has happened here in the last year or so has made immense problems, especially for the pork industry, for the grain industry, and this leads down to the dairy industry is in dire shape. So these are all very big, agricultural entries into Pennsylvania. And of course, agriculture is our number one business, so it's important that we have somebody that looks after these people.
Absolutely. And I think, what I'm really trying to do is to run a race that I just listen to people and to come in and talk to folks who have expertise in this area and can guide me in the right direction. I think so much of politics today is finger pointing, and really it's become so rigid on partisan lines that we've lost track of what the really important issues are. And I think a devastating casualty has been, for example, like you said, the dairy farms. Pennsylvania's 6,000 dairy farms have been hit the hardest by the tariffs, and you compound that with a global oversupply, and you have just a really tough situation for people. And so I think to fix that and to start doing politics the right way, you have to listen, and you have to meet people where they are.
And as it is right now, we actually only have one congressman that is on the U.S. Ag Committee, and we could use more people representing Ag in Washington, D.C. There's no doubt about that. And, of course, Tom, you were actually raised right here in Pennsylvania, weren't you?
Yes, sir. I was born and raised in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so you got to know what candy's all about anyhow, right?
Yeah, a little bit of chocolate. Not too much, though, but, it was a great place. And I'm still here, actually. I'm running my campaign out of here, and it's a great place to be. And the beauty of it is that you have really every industry. It's agriculture, it's tourism, it's healthcare, it's education, it's, state and government, federal government employees. So it's the perfect microcosm, I think, of the country and the issues that we face.
Well, there's no doubt about it. If the whole world had the same thoughts as Milton Hershey, it'd be a much better world, wouldn't it?
That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things that, whatever made you actually think about running for Congress?
Dave, it was kind of a spontaneous decision, to be completely honest. I've had 3 close friends who passed away from opioid addiction in the past year or so, and it just changes your perspective on life. I was working at a law firm, and I just started thinking, what really matters? What can I do to give back? And I think the beauty of running for office is that it brings people together. You run a campaign that gives people a sense of purpose. And so that was my real motivation, is to try to fix these diseases of despair that seem to have crippled our community. And one of the things I'm trying to do, and I think people have been receptive to it, is I've asked 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans to be on my campaign committee. Not because we agree on everything, but because we have respect for one another. And I think if we can set an example in that way and start to change the nature of political conversations, we can really start to fix these really structural issues that we face.
And that's an important issue for the voting population today. They are so sick of seeing the arguing back and forth. Really, they'd like to see it where something gets done. And walking across some lines, the old saying is, if you don't own land on both sides of the bridge, you'll never be able to use the bridge. And really, that outlook meets that qualification, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think another good example of that is they asked Benjamin Franklin in 1787 after the Constitutional Convention if he agreed with the final product, if he agreed with the Constitution. And he said, I don't agree with any of it, and that's why I think it's perfect. It's a recognition that compromise is the way to go to get things done.
Right.
Everyone has a different perspective.
Absolutely. And, of course, so many times as I travel around Pennsylvania, people ask me questions about different political leaders and things of that nature. But I know you were born in Hershey and that. But tell me a little bit about your career.
Sure. So, like you said, I was born and raised in Hershey, went to Hershey High School, played basketball. I ended up going to Dickinson College, also in the district in Carlisle. I played basketball there. I got my degree in philosophy, and I studied English as well. And I went to law school at Penn State. Had a great experience there. The football team was really good when I was there. It made it even more fun. And then after law school, I clerked for a year on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit, which is the highest federal court in the land outside of the Supreme Court. And then I was at a law firm in Philadelphia. But I wanted to come back to my roots and come back to my community, and that's why I moved back to Hershey.
All right. And, of course, beautiful place to move. So many times people don't realize how important it is to vote. But now you were just talking about the problems we're having with drugs and whatnot. And, so many times I have a friend of mine that was a coroner, and so many times people die, and you don't realize what they died from. You figure, well, maybe a heart attack or something like that. But as they expressed to me, the coroners here in our locality, how many people really do die from abuse of drugs. Am I right?
Pennsylvania has the highest amount of opioid deaths per day in the country. There are over 15 opioid deaths per day in Pennsylvania alone. It is an epidemic. I mean, it's not hyperbolic to say that it's a crisis. And I think the reason that people resort to drugs is that there's not an outlet. There's this hopelessness and this lack of confidence in the future. And I think unless we cure that and give people a reason to be hopeful again, I think these problems will continue.
Absolutely. And, of course, having the right things there to help them through them crisis times is so important. And, there's many ways of looking at it. I know the Attorney General, he works hard trying to figure out ways to make it work better for society, that these things don't happen. But realistically, we just need more time, more people, and more input into it to make the country a little bit better, right?
Absolutely. And I think that begins, first and foremost, with changing the way we talk about these issues, and not indicting one person or another, but just recognizing that no one's immune from issues like this. And if we handle it the right way and talk about it the right way, we can make real progress.
Absolutely. Well, Tom, you and I could talk all night long, but the important time, the vote's coming up very, very shortly here, isn't it?
Well, you know what? There is a local primary elections coming up May 21st, which is less than 2 weeks away now. I'm not up for election until April of next year.
All right.
And so we still have some time, but the benefit of starting early is that I can hopefully knock on as many doors and meet as many people as I can. So I would, of course, encourage everybody to vote this spring and to make that a habit.
Well, and it's a great habit because, it's an honor, really, and we should take advantage of it, and there's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Winston Churchill said that you never know when your last vote will be. Everyone could be your last, so never miss it.
That's right, and I couldn't agree with you more. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and we'll be talking to you more.
Thank you, Dave. It was a real pleasure.
And Tom Brier, and of course running the Democratic candidate in the 10th District of Pennsylvania. We'll be right back.
You're listening to American Farm Country Radio, the largest ag radio network in Pennsylvania. For more information, log on to PAFarmCountryRadio.com.